of the season. Just wanted to go over a few things. You should have gotten an email late in the week from Mike Kuhn about ratings from Travis. Please check uh, those emails and those lists and make sure you are on the proper list. If you to qualify for districts for both the girls and the boys side, you need to have at least done 10 varsity games on the season. We will be rating starting next week, and we're just collecting those lists. If you feel you're on the wrong list, just let Travis know, and you can be put on the list that you feel is appropriate. Other than that, we're getting down to the end of the season here. Stay healthy. Make sure you are communicating with partners, on arrival times. I know a lot of people are working multiple games, or if you have an issue and you're going to be there a little later, just make sure you're communicating a couple of days before the day of, and just talk and decide when you're going to meet and stuff like that. Also, manage the coaches, manage the players. Again, I said this last week, if you need to give a warning, bench warning or technical, do so. Just make sure you're, managing the game to the best of your ability. Tempers are starting to flare up, and, we're getting down to playoff time. Games have some meaning, especially at the varsity level. So let's make sure we're, managing the game, but at the same time, using the tools that we have available to us to handle coaches and players appropriately. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Rick, are you on tonight?
I am Kyle.
Okay. You want to say anything?
Yes, I just got a couple things. Mainly, I just want to update everybody with the dates for the playoffs. I got them today from Zach, and the dates are confirmed. Uh, I also have these dates posted on the dashboard in Arbiter. Um, the girls playoffs begin on February the 11th. That's the quarterfinals. The semifinals are February the 14th, and the finals are February the 16th. The finals will be held at Manheim Township once again. Uh, the boys' side quarterfinals are 2/13, February 13th. Semifinals are February 15th, and the finals are February the 13th, which is a Friday. The girls' finals on a Thursday night.
You mean the 17th, Rick? There, you said the
Uh,
13th. The finals for the boys is on the 17th, right?
oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah, the boys is the 17th, and the girls
And
is
there's just a quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals this year. There's no playing games, right? With the move back to
exactly.
four
There's no,
sections. Okay.
yeah. There's only the first two, teams in each section advance, and if there's any ties, there's no playoffs. There's no playoffs to see who gets first. Okay. The only other thing I have is to just repeat what Kyle said. We are getting down to the nitty gritty. Tempers are flaring. Uh, use the tools that we have in the toolbox to control the game. Our job is to control the game, and use it appropriately. If you have to give it, you have to give it T. You have to give it T. You have to give a double T. Give a double T. Preferably, if you give a double T, though, remember, guys, it's always nice to have the first T come from one official, and the second T come from the other official. That's a good way of managing the game. Sometimes it doesn't play out that way, but that is a good technique to use in the game to control the game. It sometimes, like I said, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes the person that's getting the T gives you no other choice than to give another T. But if if you do get the first tee, especially on the varsity level, you get that first tee and some play on unravels, and the coach is still giving you a hard time, or a player is still giving you a hard time. It's like I said, it's always nice, a good technique to have that second official step, or a third official step in there and give the second tee. Uh, Thirdly, arbiter, again, keep your. I know it's getting down nitty gritty. and people are getting wore out and getting tired. Legs are getting tired. We still have a lot of games to go yet. So please keep Arbor up to date. We do. I've been getting some last minute changes that I with officials sick, can't work, whatever the case might be, emergencies, things like that. Do the best we can to fill in and do what we got to do to try to get the season through in an appropriate fashion. I don't like last minute. I don't like last minute give backs. I got a 5 o'clock give back last week and didn't really appreciate that. It happened. It occurred. We worked through it. But if you have to have a turn back on the day of a game, please try to do it by 12 o'clock. You should know by 12 o'clock if you are going to be able to work your game or not. I do know, like I said, I'm not unrealistic. I do know emergencies to come up, but making sure it's a good emergency. It's the Lancaster Lebanon League. You're assigned a game in Lancaster Lebanon League. I expect you to work it. Enough said about that. Any questions for me out there? If not, Kyle, that's all I got. Appreciate everybody's willing to work together this year. It's been fun. Like I said, this is our last meeting, but we do have a lot of games ahead of us. So keep me abreast of what's going on. If guys or women are open out there, please let me know if you're on certain days that you're definitely available or days that you can open up that you were closed originally. Because when I do get a give back, it gives me a list that I go by that I know you're able to work, and it saves me time getting you into the game, and it helps out the ADs as well. Okay, that's all I got, Kyle.
All right, Tom, you ready? Does anyone else have anything? Trav, do you have anything? I don't know if Trav's on or not.
Don't think I saw him hop on.
Okay. All right.
The only thing I'll add is, newer officials, and we were talking about this, please let me, I said it the last one, I didn't hear anything. If you haven't gotten a game on Huddle, and especially as we head down the stretch, let me know. If we can, we want to get you one later in the season so you can hopefully see your development. I've seen worked with great some of you guys, and everyone's doing great feedback from our mentors and other officials seeking out their mentors to help you guys out. So just finish strong, especially our newer officials. Just keep working down the stretch and, taking in all that feedback and, enjoying the experience.
Yeah, a lot of those Huddle cameras seem to have the coaches, if they know ahead of time, can put it on for whatever time they want. So even if it's a junior high game, they can film your junior high game and they're willing to send it in.
Yep.
Okay. Tom, you ready to go?
Sure. Why not? Good evening, everyone. Appreciate being on. I'm just going to reiterate a little bit. This might be one of the earlier times we've had our last meeting, but that being the case, we still got to, there's 3-4 weeks left of the season, as Kyle alluded to, Rick alluded to, as for the varsity level, that it is playoff time and it's district playoff time. So a lot of these games will have meeting. And even some of those teams that aren't involved in either one of those, for them to beat a team that is going to districts or making a run at the league playoff, that's their playoff game. So that being said, let's just keep doing what we're doing, giving them, 100% of what we have. We all know we come in with different expectations, different daily grinds. But giving your all and giving your best, and I think we, as a chapter, do that from what I've been hearing. So keep doing what you're doing, and I just want to thank you and for doing that. And thank you for putting up with the video. I'm going to show some videos tonight. Hopefully they won't be slow, but we deal with what we have to deal with. So that being said, tonight we're going to, first thing I'm going to show you, hopefully, is a video just about game management. Hopefully, you know, it's a clear one that we can, and that y'all can hear. So I'm going to give you this. Try this here, Jay.
Yep, you have sharing privileges, so you should be able to do it.
All right. I appreciate that. Yeah. And that before I get started, you know, I just want to let everybody know, you know, I want to thank Jay for hosting these huddles, for doing the Huddle A and sending out all those game films. You know, we all owe a big thanks to Jay. That takes a lot of time, plus allowing us to use his work, Temple University Zoom meetings in order to hold these video meetings, so we can all enjoy that experience. So thank you, Jay, for that. All right. So let's hope this comes through here.
I am an over communicator. I probably talk more in the ACC than any other official, but I use that to my advantage. This way, 5. A lot of times you'll see our guys talking to coaches. That's a huge game management skill that they have, because coaches have questions, and if we treat them with any kind of disrespect or we walk away from them, then that's going to create a problem later down the road. I looked at the play, all right? There's a little pop there, but I wasn't going down here. I just want him to know. Yeah, look, Dougie, I just took a look to make sure.
I have felt all along that the relationship that you have with the coaches is the utmost important.
Hold on, listen. Look, and I was right on the call. Okay, all right. Hey, it's their ball.
For me, I think the biggest thing with communication is listening. And I tell younger officials, you gotta listen.
Holy mackerel. Wow. If we can take care of dealing with them, talking to them, listening to them, which is some referees have the hardest part of is just listening, then we can take our game management to a different level.
Trump's going to die. He went through him, Roy. He went through it.
You know, the coaches are grown men that are dependent on wins and losses. So it's important to communicate with them, keep everything professional.
The kids are all they're doing is eating up space, knocking it around a little bit. Putting out that video, so they can push it all around. Okay. I don't got a problem with that. So, okay. I'll watch it. We getting calls in the paint on that big, blocking out of this like this. That's a good point. I'll watch it. All right.
The relationship you have with the coaches and the trust factor that they have in you gets you by when, say, for instance, you have a call that goes against them. Maybe they treat you a little differently in the things they say and their response to your call versus someone that they have a little less trust in.
I want the coaches to be as comfortable as they can. So they're just worried about coaching their kids. They're not worrying about us. You know, the games are hard enough as they are.
Usually, after you've been around a while, most coaches know what I'm going to call, what I'm not going to call. They know what they can say to me, what they can't say to me. But the one thing is communication. As long as you communicate with coaches, that's huge. And players, I'm a big talker in the ACC. I like to talk to players. I like to communicate with players.
Can I say something? You of all people. Don't flop. It's a flop. No contact. It's a flop, if anything.
Things happen on the floor that even the three of us out there, we may not see. So any information they can give me to help me officiate the game, the better.
Can I talk to you? When he's trying to cut, you're all up in him like this. And you got when they do. All right, okay. Hold down.
This game is about those young men out there. So when you have conversations with them, you know, you want to make them feel at ease, but you want to let them know, hey, listen, I'm not always right. Come and tell me what you saw. I'll tell you what I had, and then bang, everything flows a lot better. So you don't want to have to worry about it.
Right here, right here. Five. Sophie. They get hooked up, right? Then it goes in the last thing. You gotta take that up.
There's a reason they call them 5 starters, because those are usually the 5 best players, or the 5 players that gives the team the best chance to win. So I try to ensure that I'm communicating with those players to give them a fair opportunity to make adjustments, because I believe communication with both the coaches and the players bring a better game.
Hey, just don't lean on me. I got it. If he knocks the crap out of you, just let me see that. All right.
On the next.
All right. So just a little thing on game management. Hopefully that came through pretty decent. Now, you know, I realize those are referees and they're dealing with coaches that make a living, but you know, you can relate that to what we do as officials in not having full out blown conversations, but just simple little chats. You know, if the player's being respectful, the coach is being respectful, there's nothing wrong with, at the right moment in time, having that little chat. You don't want to get into you know, a reciting of a rule or what you saw, but just as quick, you know, just a quick that you're listening to that coach or listening to that player. It can quell tempers, it can ease anxiety, you know, and it can let them know what you're looking at or what you're looking for. You know, it gives them a chance. And if they don't abide by it, then yes, of course, then you have to rule as needed. It's one thing that you know, I definitely, and many of people I work with talk about in our pregame. You know, we want to try to let them play and let the game flow, but there's times where you can't. So just something I you know, saw, and I think it serves its purpose for what we do on, you know, on a daily basis. So that being said, the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is about the throw-in. Okay, we want to do a little bit with the throw-in here. I'm going to bring it up. The throw-in can be found in your rules book, throw-in administration, on page 53 in your rules book. If you have your rules book there and want to look at it, it's at the bottom of that page. I'm going to have it up here on the screen. So if you look at the throw-in administration, now this is back, okay, this is through my account here on Amazon. So it's an old rules book. I haven't got the new one yet. I have it up on the NFHS website on my phone, but this one covers the basis. So throw-in administration. Number 1, Article 1, the official must hand or bounce the ball to the thrower for a throw-in unless the throw-in is from outside the end line following a successful goal. Okay, so you know, when you bounce or you hand it, it's your preference. You know, a lot of times it's, you know, they're expecting the bounce, especially when it's the ball is going the other way. Just makes it a little simpler. You can get a little bit better view, especially if there's a press of some sort or there's pressure on the whether it's a throw, the person throwing it in, or the guard or whoever is trying to get open in the back court there to take it up to their front court. It just helps you with your angle. The throwing begins when the ball is at the disposal of a player of the team entitled to the throw-in. The thrower must release the ball on a pass directly into the court. Okay, except as in 757, which is after a made basket. Okay, within 5 seconds after the throw-in begins. Okay, so when you hand that ball to the player, okay, or bounce the ball to the player, then your count begins. Okay, they must throw it directly into the court after that throw-in begins. Okay, except as they say there as in rule 757 is after a made basket, if the teammate is out of bounds, you can pass along the end line to that teammate. Okay, after a made basket, or and after a made foul shot. So those are a couple of instances where you can pass to another teammate. Okay, and they also may run along the end line during those times as well. We want to make sure, before I move on here, they want to make sure that player knows that they have that ability to run along the end line. A lot of times, especially important after a timeout, when they come back in, just to remind them, hey, you may run the end line, or, this is a spot throw-in. This is a spot throw-in. So those two reminders, can go a long way. Okay. The throw-in pass must touch another player in bounds or out of bounds on the court before going out of bounds untouched. Okay. The throw-in pass must not touch a teammate while it is on the out of bounds side of the throw-in boundary plane. Okay. All right. The throw-in pass must not touch a teammate while it is on the out of bounds side of the throw-in boundary plane. The thrower must not leave the designated, okay, when it's a spot or a designated spot throw-in spot until the ball has been released on the throw-in pass. Okay. So they have that 3-foot range. Remember, they can move in that spot. They just can't remove both feet from that 3-foot area. Okay, they can go back as far as they want. If there's a large, if it's on the end lines and there's a large space back behind them, they can go back. They just can't side to side. It's that 3-foot that 3-foot space, and they can have 1 foot out of that 3-foot space as long as the other foot is up and hovering, or even on the floor within that 3-foot space. Okay, so that is allowed. Okay, the opponent. Article 4, the opponent of the thrower must not have any part of his or her person through the inbound side of the throw-in boundary plane until the ball has been released on the throw-in pass. Okay. If that opponent reaches through, doesn't touch the ball and or person, the thrower, that would be a delay of game warning. Okay. So if that's their first delay of game warning, it's just a delay of game. Go over, inform the coach, inform the table, they come back. Okay, so as long as it's the first one, then there's no penalty. It's just a warning. Okay, if it's the second one and a delay of game, whether they had a delay of game for another reason earlier in the game, if this is their second one, or if they do it again, it is a technical foul. Okay, it is a technical foul. Note, we go right down to the note. The thrower must have a minimum of 3 feet horizontal if the court is not marked accordingly. An imaginary restricting line must be imposed by the administrating official. Again, what I tend to do here is, if we are in cramped quarters, if you say maybe along some end lines on some courts, or if the throw-in is from the side of the courts where there's not a lot of room, you might want to just push that defender, push them back, and I always try to remind them, straight up and down, don't reach through, so you might want to push them back a little bit to make sure that throw-in spot is given the proper amount of 3 feet. All right. And then that way you push them back and you don't let any offensive players come through that zone either. They can't, like, because you push that defender back, you can't allow the offensive team to come back and be in that area as well. Okay, so that's it's just a nice technique to use. I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to set up a time like, before the game and tell the coaches, hey, along the sidelines, we're tight here. We're going to have that 3-foot box. No, I'm not going to state that at the beginning of the game. I'm going to do it on my own. And we'll talk about that in our pregame as partners. We'll say, hey, it's tight in this gym. If we get into a tight situation where they're up on the thrower in, if you will, we're going to push them back. We're going to push them back to give them room. Okay, so that way we're doing it and we're not setting a precedent, where the coaches are like, oh, you told me, pregame that you were going to, have that imaginary. No, I didn't. I'm pushing them back for you. So, I think that works out better to our advantage as officials than setting ourselves up for, determining that, as a precedent, if you will, before the game. Okay. Article 5 alludes to what I was just talking about. Teammates must not occupy adjacent positions which are parallel to and within 3 feet of the boundary line if the opponent desires one of those positions. The 3-foot restraining line is sometimes the temporary boundary line, as in 1-2-2. So again, you got to use, your judgment, but you want to push that defender back. You can't let that offensive player sneak in there and basically have a handoff either. Okay, they must stay back within that. They must stay back within that 3-foot restraining area that you have established as well. And then Article 6, when an official administrators a throw-in to the wrong team, the mistake must be rectified before the throw-in ends. Okay, sometimes we get confused or, sometimes off a timeout or off of erroneous, you might say white and actually it's blue. But then, you can rectify that error before the throw-in ends, then you can correct that mistake. Okay, and you can correct that mistake. If you don't, and the throw-in ends, then you play on. You're just going to have to be one of the willing to hear some complaints about that. So just a little bit about throw-ins. Some of the courts we officiate on are a little tighter. Some aren't. Some it's not an issue. Some you have plenty of room the whole way around. But there's still a few courts in our league that there isn't plenty of room the whole way around. So just something to be aware of, something to think about, especially when there's pressure on the ball. So again, that's in your book. Rule 6 or section 6 on page 53. Okay, and it goes on. It's rule 7. So something to think about as you continue to work those games. So just something I wanted to throw in before we're done here. So the next thing I want to throw in here is another video. It talks about a little bit about basketball officiating. This one is related to the Big 12 conference. So again, it is college related, but I think it definitely serves our purpose well. So I'm going to play that one here. All right, let's take a listen.
officiating is cussed and discussed more than politics or religion. The Big 12 Conference granted an all-access opportunity for an inside look at how the men in the striped shirts work at critiquing themselves and improving their craft.
I mark plays in my head about certain plays that we had, like the one charge call with the foot out. Certain things in the game that stick out in your mind, 4, 5, 6, 7 different plays, and you stick it out and you try to remember when those plays are at, and you go back and look at them, see if you got them right or wrong.
Officials are required to arrive 90 minutes before game time and be on the court 30 minutes before the opening tip. For those 60 minutes in the officials' locker room, the three-man crew gets into uniform, stretches, and talks about points of emphasis.
We have replay situations, make sure that everybody knows what we want, especially if it's a critical situation. There's something that happens and one of us needs to trigger the other ones, and we can go to the replay.
The officials understand that their every move, every call is being watched. Mistakes are magnified thanks to television and the internet. A bad call, or even what a fan thinks is a bad call, can go viral in seconds.
The tape does not lie.
The crew of Joe DeRosa, James Breeding, and Rick Crawford worked the Baylor-Oklahoma game on January 24th. A great example of officiating and communicating as a three-man team happened late in the game. Breeding initially called a charge on Baylor's Quincy Acey, but DeRosa had a different and better angle. After every game, the home team video crew supplies each referee with a DVD of the game. In this case, it allowed for instant post-game analysis.
Well, I don't hear Joe's whistle, so I'm just calling the play when AC goes into it, and it's a block charge play. And when I hit my whistle and called an offensive foul, I'm looking at Joe and I can tell from his body language that he has something different, clearly.
I had a foul before on 21 from behind, and then the guy charged into his opponent. So we got together and said, reconstructed the play. The first foul occurred before the charge, so we penalized that. I really don't see how we could have not penalized the foul that was called, even though the guy obviously ran over his opponent.
Baylor won at Oklahoma 77-65. The next night, DeRosa was joined by John Higgins and Bert Smith for the Missouri-Oklahoma State game in Stillwater. The Cowboys pulled an upset, stunning the second-ranked Tigers. Oklahoma State won, even though Markel Brown was called for 2 technical fouls for unsportsmanlike conduct after a block shot and a dunk. While there was debate that Brown was penalized for his enthusiasm, the man who oversees officiating for the NCAA agreed with the officials' decisions.
We're competitors, we're athletes too, been out on the floor. So when you have a game that both teams are aggressively playing, it makes it easy for us to work, helps us to stay focused.
After a shower, a couple of slices of pizza, some talk about the previous game, it's back to the hotel, then on to another airport, another rental car, another hotel, and another game. What doesn't change for these stars and stripes is that they are constantly striving to improve and that they remember their few mistakes more than the hundreds of calls they get right.
That's a positive for us. It gives us the access to be able to get better. We might drive down the road tonight and think about some plays that we haven't talked about right now, but that gives us opportunity to look at them, look at our positioning, see whether we got straight lines, see whether we had the right angles, and all those things from a technology standpoint make things much more progressive for us today.
For the Big 12 Digital Network, I'm Wendell Barnhouse.
All right. So just again, when you relate it to what we do, obviously, again, they're doing it at, multi-million, billion-dollar businesses, but they do a lot of the same things we do. We don't have to catch an airplane, but we might be working night in, night out, wear and tear. So, one of the things I caught when I first watched this and watch it again just now is, when you're officiating, people talk about, cataloging calls and trying to remember certain calls. And, you hear that and you're like, well, what could that mean? Well, what that does is, you might remember certain calls and how they affected the game, or was it a tight call, just like the one they referenced to, the one official had a charge, but before that, the other official with a better angle saw the rake of the arm, the first foul before that charge. So those are the type of things that when you catalog or reference calls, you think about those, and then you talk about them at halftime or after the game. And those are the things that, that with the use of video now that we have, you can go back and you can look at those calls again in your game, or, you might, then you can say, oh yeah, okay, that's where that happened. Or maybe I could have been in this type of position, another step down, as a center during that time, or I could have, followed that play a little bit better as the trail, that started my area. Maybe if I take a step to the left, maybe I have a better angle. And those are the type of things that when you're watching yourself on video, besides looking for certain plays, obviously, but those are the type of things that you can try to use to better your game, or watch more plays. And that's the nice thing about having the video referencing that we do have, that gets sent to us. So, take it for what it's worth. It's what they, what they talk about as well. You might think, well, they're on TV, and yeah, they're fantastic officials, but when it comes down to officiating, in this case, the game of basketball, it's very similar to, it's what we do. And we're under the microscope a lot more than we used to be. Every play can be sent across whatever platform people have. So, it's out there. And that's okay. The game you got, you enjoy it, you still go out and do your best, and that's all, that's all people can ask. So just another video. I think they definitely have value when we take a look at those. So one thing I wanted to show, and I had the permission here, if you grant me some a little bit of time here, I'm going to pull it up, and the official allowed me to use this because it is a very interesting type of play. Nothing that we really have, but it's something that we want to take a look at here. I just got to find it. So give me a second. Just let me find it on the video, and I'll be. All right. So I found it. So let me now get it. We're going to take a look at this play and see what you think. I'll try to stop it in time to see what you think. It's a very interesting play that one of our officials had in one of their games. And, I asked if I could share it, and he said, sure, because it's going to help us all. So let's take a look. Here it is. watch what the player does here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to replay that a little bit. I can. Whoops, way too far. Here we go. Whoops. Big golly. Okay, here we go again. So watch what he does right there. Now, notice it, it's a tactic that a lot of teams use. There's no pressure on, there's only, in this case, there was 8.4 to start. They roll the ball, don't touch it, and see how far they can get before the defense might come up and try to steal the ball. Now, interesting play. Kid's coming up the court, gives it a tap, tap, tap. Now he's going to pick it up. Now watch what happens next. Okay, our official has a call, okay, which is good. He has a call, and we spoke about this. And here's his decision. Okay, he calls the young person for a walk. Okay, now the actual ruling, and we spoke on this, is, and he basically, I think if I recall, he called me almost the next day, if not sent me a text that night. It's an interesting thing. So look what happens. Okay, they're rolling the ball again. Here it comes. That tap, tap, tap actually starts that player's dribble. Okay, that technically starts that player's dribble. Continues on now. He picks the ball up and he dribbles again. Now, our official had a walk. Okay, so had the violation, which is awesome. Okay, but by rule, this play here would technically be a double dribble. Okay, something you don't see often. Okay, something you don't see often. Usually what we see, and we talked about it, usually what you see is you just see the person do that, roll it, and then as soon as they see the defense, they just pick it up and then start their dribble, which is perfectly fine. But this one just a little odd, and that's why I wanted to make sure we used it just to get an idea. You don't see those every day. It's pretty neat when you can get a play that everybody can benefit from, and I appreciate the official there letting us use that play. It definitely takes plays that aren't common, if you will, out of the situation. Another play that that we had, and we had just this past Saturday, was a little bit unusual. Was we had a held ball, and the team or inbounding the ball with the team entitled to the possession arrow, and during the throw-in, the defensive team, in this case, fouled, pushed one of the offensive players, whatever it may be. I think it was a push, whatever. So they went over, reported it, and came back in. And of course, the same team had the throw-in, but now what you want to remember on that type of play is the throw-in isn't due to the held ball. Right, the throw-in now is from the common foul that occurred during the throw-in. So the possession arrow in this case would remain in the team entitled, who we originally gave that held ball. Okay, so something unusual, and actually the table was aware of it as well, which was good. And they just they confirmed with us that that possession arrow remained in the team that was original before the foul. And the next time I ran by the opposing coach, he asked me about it, and I just quickly said, but due to the foul, that was what the throw-in was. so the team remains in possession of the alternating or the arrow. And he shook his head. Maybe, didn't totally, understand, but he shook his head. And that was just a simple conversation, as you're going by, and if you have to reiterate and he brings it up again, during a stoppage of play, and you have a little bit quicker explanation just to confirm that, that's a fine time to do that. You can't really, call timeout and you'll explain every rule to the coach. So just something, another, odd play that you want to, you want to be in charge of, or you want to, be aware of, I should say. I'm going to share another one that was sent to me. A little bit interesting, but there's more to this play here. Here's a little background. It's a play where an official calls a technical foul for hanging on the rim. But then there's something extra that happens that that we all have to be aware of, unfortunately, where a fan throws a bottle onto the floor. So we're going to take a look at this. And let's take a look at this interesting, unfortunate play, I should say, but it's interesting. Let me see here. Again, I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so here's the play. It's going to come up pretty quickly, so here you go. Goes up, and the kid hangs. There's the technical foul. Now you got to look pretty closely because here comes the bottle. Okay, so we're going to play that again. Here it comes. Player hangs for no reason, really. Just hung on the rim. Okay. Coach isn't real pleased for the technical foul, and there goes the bottle. Almost hits the other official as they're walking by. Okay. Again. Boom, technical foul, no shot. The official's walking through, the bottle gets thrown. So, obviously, you're hoping game administration can help us out here. But what I was told about this incident was, game administration, of course, sort of came and said, well, we don't know who threw it. Hopefully by using this video, the school can identify that person and not allow them back into the gymnasium, at least for this year, if not longer. So
Tom,
something to be aware of. Again, you always want to go to a game administration, and see if if this type of incident would occur. Okay?
Tom, can I interject something?
Not, but just something that you have to be aware of. It shouldn't occur at any level, but again, just something to make us all aware of as we're out there officiating basketball games.
Tom, can you hear me?
Again, I just want to thank everybody. That's where I'm going to end tonight. I want to thank everybody for attending. I want to thank everybody for attending last week that did for the in-person, patience with me with the videos and everything else that occurs during the regular season. Again, I can't, if you want to come and if you want to send me something, text, want to talk about a rule, whatever, I'll gladly do that. Rick, you said you had a comment?
Yeah, I had something to interject there for you. What school was that at, Tom?
You have to unmute yourself, Rick.
I thought I did. I did unmute. I am unmuted.
He is, Tom. It might be your audio.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay. What school was that at, Tom?
That was at Bishop McDevitt.
sorry, I won in our league. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
it
to
was not, yeah,
reiterate-
sorry. Yes,
That's
that was
good.
not us. That was not us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, if
just
that
to
was
reiterate,
us, Rick, we would have probably had a
game
chat.
game management should be on top of that.
They should.
Not knowing who did it's not an excuse. They should find out. If they tried to find out and they didn't know, that's one thing. But they should
Right.
try to find out. And typically if they get close, the people around them will say it was that guy. The guy
Right.
won't fess it typically, but usually other fans around him will identify the person, and that person needs to go because
Absolutely.
that can escalate. Like I said, we've been fortunate in our league, and we want to keep it that way. We
Yeah.
want to have game management on top of that, and they're not on top of that. We want to do what we got to do.
Set that game up for Fanny, I guess.
But
So I have a
preferably-
question on that. So if you knew this area that it came from, could you have them clear the area?
You could also, if you really got to the nitty gritty and wanted to put some pressure on, you could go over
You
and
watching the game up here?
you could go over and to the coach and say, hey, you're going to help us out here, or we're going to give you a technical foul. You could, and you could stop the game, but that would be, in my opinion, the last thing you wanted to do. You want to get game management to help you out, and like Rick alluded to, most of the time the people around them, will give them up. So, it's something, we just got to be aware and use game management. We don't want to try to take care of that, ourselves. So. Okay. Anything else on that or anything? All right. Yeah. Just things that we just got to be aware of. Like I said, I think we, just have to have eyes and ears, as the game's going on. Another thing I did want to mention too is, let's keep an eye as you're doing it, just so we're getting used to it. Keep an eye on the clock as officials, with 3 people, if you're not making the call, keep an eye on the clock. There's been some incidents that I've heard that, clock either keeps running, it doesn't start, whatever it may be, have those counts, have solid evidence of the time, and if you're not making the call, take a glance up at the clock, make sure it stops, make sure it starts, those type of things. So just to be aware of your surroundings. Hopefully we won't have an incident like we just witnessed, some like fans can be fans, but there's no room for that. There's no room for that. Again, if there's nothing else, I thank everybody for joining us. It's one of the, like I always say, officiating is a stress reliever for me. So, but I appreciate everybody and everybody, being part of it. So any final words? Kyle, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Take care, everybody.